Welcome back to day 2 of our Cheltenham Festival preview on Racing Weekly, this podcast and YouTube show brought to you by Oddschecker in association with Bet365. And we're going to get straight into the action on day 2. And alongside me, of course, Steve Ryder, Willy Twiston-Davies, Pat Cooney and Gavin Lynch. And we'll go straight to Willy Twiston-Davies, who's got Potter's Charm in the Turners Novices Hurdle. Why did you run him last time?
Oh, just don't start. No, if you could get rid of his last run, he's obviously been a very talented horse. He'd have been 5 from 5, very ground versatile. I know Skelton's, they're probably planning Valgran back from the county now, but on the day they were very bullish about him and we put him to bed very easily. Obviously won the Formby back over 2 miles. It was very impressive. Obviously slightly disappointed the last day, but he just didn't, for whatever reason. Sam said he was half asleep going to the start and didn't feel like anywhere like the same horse. I'd like to think we got him back to where we are now. His last bit of work looked like his best bit since, and he's improving. He'll do his last bit tomorrow. The new Lions form is taking knocks. I think we actually probably beat Bill Joyce further, even when we were out of form. Obviously, it looks a very talented horse, but of the British, I think we're the best. Obviously, I thought Final Demand was quite impressive in the DRF, but I wouldn't swap our horse. I think he's very talented, and he goes there, and whatever he does happens, and we'll learn from it. But no, I think he's a very, very naturally gifted horse. He's a Grade 1 winner, Grade 2 winner. He's done very little wrong. His jumping's improved. Very versatile, ground-wise, can be ridden any way you want. Look, it was a long way to go to be in that sort of catalogue, but we've always thought he's a very similar horse to the new one, so hopefully he can go. The new one got beat in the same race and then went and won this, so hopefully he can do the same.
Okay. If he was the horse that he was all the way up until the previous race and that defeat, how confident would you be?
If he was the same horse, I think he is now. If he was the same horse he was going to entry, I'd be really confident. He'd be a 3-to-1 shot. He wouldn't be the price he is now. And I just thought it was evident. He looked beat from so far out. He's gone from winning a 2-mile Grade 1 to being off the bridle free out, where every other race he's been hard on the bridle going down the hill. So we think we've got him back. Hopefully we have. We won't know until start time of the race, but no, he's seriously talented.
All right. Steve, what do you like here?
I'll tell you who I don't like. I don't particularly like Final Demand at the prices. I think if the Yellow Clay runs here, you'll have enough running against him that you can lay him. I wouldn't be as bullish around Potter's Charm or the Yellow Clay or the New Lion. I just want them all running for me, if I'm honest. I just think with the better ground on the Wednesday, they're going to water loads before the Tuesday, but on the Wednesday, they won't particularly be able to. And I went back and watched the new one's victory over Pont Alexander, and I remember at the time thinking, Ruby, why are you not going quicker on Pont Alexander? And he got off and said, well, I couldn't go any faster. And I just think that might happen with Final Demand. He does look like a 3-miler to me, and I can't quite believe they're not running in the Albert Bartlett. And yeah, I'd just have the field running for you against him, if I'm honest. I think if Willy has the winners that we're expecting on day 1 of Kopek de Board and Marshborough, I think he'll be near enough even money. I prefer the field over that.
Okay. What do you like? Or don't like?
I think the Final Demand will drift, even if I accept what Steve says, even if Willy has a beano on the Tuesday. I can't see him being anywhere near even money personally. I think the New Line is now favoured on the exchanges. Final Demand, I think between now and next Wednesday, he could touch 3-to-1. Obviously, Willy's performance on Tuesday will have an influence on that. He's by walking the park, likes good ground. The Dams Uzka won 3, I think, on good ground. It wouldn't be a positive. His point-to-point. Limerick, that form's worked out fine. To go from maiden hurdle to win a Grade 1 so impressively, it's just like Kopek de Board. It's a brilliant effort. But I definitely couldn't back him at 6 or 7-4 at the minute. I haven't backed previously, but you couldn't advise that because I think he'll definitely drift in the next week. The New Line could start favourite. The Yellow Clay beat Wingman by the same distance, so he'd have a squeak. And don't be surprised if there's a lot of money for James's Gate between now and the race. He made a Hames of the last and Nav, and bar that, he was definitely going to win easy. He's a travelly thing, but he's a good horse, and he'd have a squeak. But if I got 3-to-1 Final Demand, which I think I will, or we will in the next week, that might be of interest.
All right. Pat?
Yeah, well, I would say there's been plenty of money for the New Line this morning. So he's been very, very popular in the ring.
Look at Willy's face when he sees that. He can't believe it.
But you look at official ratings, the New Line 147, Potter's Charm 146, just a pound between them. So if we're talking prices as we speak, you have to like Potter's Charm. I was looking at James's Gate as well. It's odd to see an 8-year-old, isn't it, in a novice's hurdle? But seems he's been around forever, doesn't it? But I don't know, with Final Demand, the new line, I haven't been wowed by them. But I don't think it's necessarily that deep beyond the likes of James Gate and Potter's Charm. I don't see a shock result in this race. But of the front two, I might lean towards the new line more, I think.
What price is Potter's Charm at the moment?
About 16.
16 to 1. Okay.
And just to say there, James's Gate, I'd say he would have run the Coral Cup, except for the new rule having to have 5 runs. He's only had 4.
Yes.
So he didn't qualify in time because they were beaten a short head twice in that race. So they would have liked to have got their revenge, but I'd say he goes to the Turners.
Whatever happens, it's lovely to have a couple of British novices and the new line and Potter's Charm in a race at Cheltenham. Because it's become a rare thing over the last few seasons, but I think both horses are really talented. But the prices, Potter's Charm's got to be of interest at 16 to 1 with Bet365. So I'll be keen to have a little bit on him each way. The Brown Advisory Novices Chase has been interesting chat in the lead up to this year's Cheltenham Festival. Because Ballyburn has done very little wrong, yet more people are more keen for Dancing City because he appeals more as a Brown Advisory horse. Is that fair?
I think he probably is more of a Gold Cup horse next season. With the ground drying, I'd be kind of now against him for the Brown Advisory. I have been a huge fan of the horse kind of throughout the year. I'd be against Ballyburn. He was the star novice hurdler last season, but you want these novice chasers to have improved for going chasing, and he definitely hasn't. I don't particularly like his jumping technique. I just haven't really found anything to take him on. I'd probably give a chance to Cater Bourbon, but again, the ground would be a slight worry. Both the Real Whacker and Donpoli both won this race, having only had 2 starts over fences. He has a couple of lengths to find with Better Days ahead from the Martin Pipe last season. Better Days ahead I wasn't impressed with last time, scraping home for Stella Story in receipt of weight. And I thought around 16 to 1, Cater Bourbon could probably outrun his odds, but it isn't a race that I'll be staking very big.
All right. Gav?
The 13 to 8 Ballyburn at the minute, 3 to 1 Dancing City. I backed Dancing City a while ago, loved him because he stays forever. Last year he went to Cheltenham. He went to the DRF, he went to Cheltenham, he went to Aintree, he went to Punchestown, won 3 of them. And the ground at Punchestown was kind of, we would call it yielding. But they're 13 to 8 and 3 to 1. I think they'll SP 5 to 4 and 5 to 1. I think all the money will come for Ballyburn. He was very, very good the last day. He's much better jumping on left-handed. Paul's body language the whole way near the finish the race was just let me pop the last, and he was very confident he'd pick up Crow Park, and in the last 100 yards he goes right away. To give you an outsider's Gorgeous Tom at 16 to 1, I think 20 to 1 with Bet365, possibly ante-post. Flashed home in the Drinmore over 2.5, was opening with a few strides. Did he finish 3rd or 4th, beating a couple of necks or whatever? It's a bit of a guess. Is he definitely going to stay 3 miles? But if the ground is decent, he loves decent ground. Just at a big price, he would have an each way chance.
Pat?
Yeah, with Ballyburn, the question is, will he stay? He does pull harder in the early part of a race, and he is moving up in trip. Remember, he ran against Sagino, didn't he, over the 2 miles? What did Connections think he was, a 2 mile?
Well, I think they were forced to run in that race because of the change of the races before Christmas.
Grade 1 at Christmas, Leopardstown was got rid of.
I
don't think that would have been their choice to go there, but that's all they had.
Nevertheless, he has to prove he gets 3 miles. You'd believe he would, but if he's going to pull hard in the first half mile of the race and he's pulling Paul Townend's arms out, that's going to make it more demanding up the hill on the finishing straight with the likes of Dancing City, who could go round lap after lap. Better Days ahead, Croke Park, they all get the trip well enough. So the 13 to 8 really is, will he settle, will he stay? Would you want to be a layer or a player? Well, I wouldn't want to get too involved laying him for too much. But I think the first part of the race is the key. I end up thinking Dancing City, he's the safer option, but the best horse in the race would be Ballyburn. Question marks the trip, and will he settle?
All right. What do you think, Willie?
No, I'm against it. I really like Ballyburn. I think Willie's probably bringing him to the boil for March. The Sergino run wasn't that bad in hindsight, 'cause I think Sergino's an exceptional talent. I thought he was very good the last day, won well. I don't think there's anything that's got the ability of him in the race.
Yeah.
Up to 3 miles, I think he'll ride him very cold, get him jumping and worry about the race sort of on the second circuit. But on natural ability, there's only one horse in the race you'd want to be training or riding. So his performance at the festival last year was freakish, and I could see him probably priming for March and doing the same sort of thing.
Yeah, I think if anybody said after he won last year that he'd be odds against for whatever race he lined up in for, especially as a novice race, then remember Willie Mullins, after he won at Cheltenham last year, said he could run in the Champion Hurdle, in the Arkle, the Brown Advisory. I mean, he had all sorts of options for him. Well, he's ended up in the Brown Advisory, I think.
The other thing is about the run at Christmas time. Willie's, like, there was 31 or something runners without a win. Like, I know they probably went out form, but it was a sticky couple of days. I don't know whether it was Lossiemouth and him, was it the travelling or whatever, rough travel over? I don't know. But I think you put a line through that, and the fact you got beaten by a seriously good horse.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Ballyburn for the Brown Advisory. The big race, of course, on Wednesday is the Champion Chase. It's been a lot of chat about John Bond. Steve kindly offered this bit of statistics. 6 odds on favourites beaten in the last 9 years. John Bond trading at a shade of odds on, I think, mostly. What is he with Bet365 at the moment, Pat?
Currently, just shade of odds on 10 to 11 at the moment. And like that, we're all pouncing on that stat that the recent favourites in this race have a terrible record. How that affects John Bond, I don't know, really. You do look at him and you think, well, yeah, but what's going to beat him, though? But I know people just keep coming back to this stat. He's been beaten 3 times in his career. They've all been at Cheltenham. Now, he always rocks up at Sandown on our meeting at the end of April, and you go, that's the real John Bond. Talking to the people like Aidan Coleman, who used to be his regular rider, he says Sandown is his track. He is vulnerable around Cheltenham. So as a layer, you get that bit of bravado thinking, well, here we are at Cheltenham. But look at that. You know, if you want to say go even, say, then you're in your corner. Who have you got? Well, you got a mixed bag of sweets, really, haven't you? I think John Bond will win, and I'll be cheering him on because I like him. But I think Marine Nationale, I think he's a talented horse. I could see him running a mighty race in runner-up. But John Bond, I think he's a strong favourite. I actually think he should be shorter than he is, to be honest.
Okay, shorter than he is. Shouldn't Solness also be shorter than he is, considering what he's done most recently?
He's probably going to make the running. Ile Francais, they reckon, will go to the Ryanairs. That's got a huge influence on this race. Solness, you'd think he's been around forever. We've seen him run handicap chases in a stole and stuff, so over 2.5 miles. But more recently, 2 miles out in front, 10 lengths in front. So he's a little bit unexposed. So he could run his race, but it's still hard to see him win a champion chase, isn't it? I'm told Marine Nationale is working really well, but he's a weak finisher. He'll be in the first 3 probably. Look, I'll have definitely, like a couple of other races, I'll definitely have no bet in this race. I won't lay John Bond, I won't back him. His 3 defeats at Cheltenham, second to Constitution Hill in that famous Supreme, second to El Fabiolo. I think that, the mistakes he made in the Clarence House last year, I think Nico being on board is a massive help to him. He's 7 from 7, I think, over fences with Nico. He just gets the right tune out of him, and he jumps brilliantly for him. I don't see a big drama with him going left-handed, even though his 3 defeats have come at Cheltenham. No strong opinion, Rishi. I won't back him, I won't lay him, and I hope he wins because he's been a fantastic horse. He's so consistent, and he deserves to win it.
Yeah, I agree. He does deserve to win it. Will are you confident about him winning it?
I know Nico de Boinville was from everything he said. What a pleasure of a horse to have. He's been billed up as being, 560,000, and he got slagged off, and he's not impressive, but he won over £1 million in prize money, won how many grade 1s. He'd just be a pleasure to have in your yards. The horse any trainer would dream of having. I agree with Gavin, I wouldn't be backing him or laying him. I'd just like to go and see him win, and I think the horse deserves to have a champion chase.
Will we see him win, though, Steve?
Probably. This race looked as if it was going to have loads of pace in it. Ile Francais is now going to the Ryanair. We think Matata's no longer in here. So Solness could force the pace by himself, which would kind of make him interesting in this. I thought one at a massive price was Founder 50. Now, if you go back through his form, he's ran 9 times over fences, 5 wins, 3 seconds, and a pulled up. Now, the concern, obviously, is that he pulled up last time because he bled. But he's got really good form. He won the Grade 1 at Christmas last season, finished second to Willy Twiston-Davies at the Dublin Racing Festival, finished second to Gaelic Warrior in an Arkle, won at Down Royal in his reappearance, and then beat Solness by a neck at Navan, giving him £7. Sinicia was in third that day. She or he, I don't actually know, beat El Fabiolo on Saturday. Fourth was Banbridge, who has obviously won the King George. So that form was working out well. He obviously pulled up last time, which is a concern, but you're getting around 25 to 1 on him, and I thought he could probably run into a place.
Okay, interesting then. So those are our thoughts for the champion chase. I was also thinking that John Bond was vulnerable. I was hoping Ile Francais ran against him, but without him in the race, it looks as if this is a great opportunity for John Bond to get that Cheltenham Festival win. Okay, so also on Wednesday, as we all know, it's the Coral Cup, the Cross Country Chase, the Grand Annual, and the Champion Bumper. So I'm going to open the floor up to the other 4 races. What do you want to start with, Gav?
I'll give you a few together, will I?
Please.
Okay. Comfort Zone in the Coral Cup, just worth a little bet each way. 20 to 1, I think. 16 to 1, 20 to 1. One on the flat off 86, got £8 for that. And Nace had 1 run over hurdles there since then, was third. I'd say this has been the plan. No certainty, but certainly worth a little thing each way. I think Stumptown for the
Cross Country
will drift. I think that horse will be 3 to 1. If you're doing a few each way multiples, I wouldn't hesitate putting that in. But I've had more of a bet on Bustleton in the same race.
Okay.
Around 10 to 1. I think it's 8 to 1 now, maybe. Yeah. That horse has had 2 spins around the cross country fences, not knocked about, jumped fine. Now, Stumptown is a brilliant jumper of these fences, and Bustleton is a good jumper of these fences. But the difference is Stumptown has to carry 11.10 and Bustleton is carrying 10.5. So £19 of a difference. Probably the only horse in anybody's lifetime that will win Kerry National at the age of 5. But don't forget that last summer was still quick enough to win a flat handicap in Galway over 2 miles on soft ground off 80. There's no other horse in this race would win a flat handicap off 80. He jumps fine. He would prefer better grounds. Just keep that in mind, although he did win on bad ground. I think at 10 to 1, Bustleton would have an each way chance.
Okay. A few others. What about you, Pat?
In the Grand Annual, it's 10 to 1 the field at the moment, but I do like Liberty Hunter of Evan Williams. This is a horse who's rated 151. And I know they kept toying with the idea of running against the likes of John Bonn in all these good conditions races. Yeah. And in the end, I think they just felt, look, he is 151. That's a very winnable handicap mark to be off of. So I think he would appeal in the Grand Annual. And if he were to run, I could see a lot of people fancying him, and I'd say be sure to go a favourite.
Okay. So the Grand Annual Liberty Hunter, I think is he £12 higher this year? Willie, do you have anything, other fancies throughout the day?
I quite like Liberty Hunter. I mean, he's been very consistent in around the horses of Master Chewy's, Matatas, and he's still off 151, and he's actually beaten them in and around. I think it's a very workable mark, and he's got a lot of experience in the graded races. He'll be able to travel at speed. He jumps well, and he's very consistent. And I think Evan Williams is just a very nice man and a good trainer, so I'd like to see him have a winner.
Yeah, he's 2 from 3 at Cheltenham, Liberty Hunter, and I think the only horse to beat him was Unexpected Party in the race last year.
Yeah, and he's also getting £6. Unexpected Party is at better terms than Liberty Hunter, and I thought Liberty Hunter probably won the ground a bit softer, so I'd probably be on Unexpected Party out of the 2. I've had 2 bets in other races on the Wednesday. One of them's Jalan Dudery in the bumper. Bit of a, obviously, he can run in the race because he hasn't ran in so many bumpers. Obviously finished 3rd in this last year when sent off 9 to 4 favourite for it. All these Irish bumpers that are ran throughout the year are slow pace and then a sprint at the finish. You know that Jalan Dudery handles the fast-paced nature of a champion bumper. He's 14 to 1. I thought it was quite eye-catching, the fact that Gordon Elliott and Gigginstown have the likes of He Can't Dance, Calypso Chance and Cocktail Brute all entered, and they've decided to run Jalan Dudery in it again. It wouldn't surprise me if Jack Kennedy's on board. He's currently 14 to 1, and I could see him being sort of a 5-6 to 1 shot on the day. And the other one that I've backed is Super Sunday in the Coral Cup. Obviously, the handicap hurdles especially are pretty much not going to be having novice hurdlers in it this year, with the fact that you have to run 5 times over hurdles in order to qualify. Super Sunday was thought good enough to run in a Supreme last season on his stable debut for Willie Mullins. He was 66 to 1. Just go back and watch it. Actually ran really, really well. He finished, I think, about 10 lengths within Slade Steel. He won a Mickey Mouse race at Ballymore on his next start. But so far this season, he has caught my eye. He was well backed against the yellow clay. And I think you can forgive him. His run last time at the Dublin Racing Festival was just a bit too keen.
And it must be a big help that he won the race already.
Absolutely.
Super Sunday. Didn't he win a Coral
Cup?
Yeah,
he's one of the great horses for Jesse Harrington.
I just thought, at the minute, these novice hurdles in Ireland, again, slow-paced, this fast-paced Coral Cup being held up out the back, probably with Patrick on board, will actually suit really, really well. And I thought 16 to 1 was a big price.
Okay. Let's just go through your best selections on day 2. I'll start with you, Gav. What would be the number 1 pick for you? There are a couple of races that you avoided giving a strong selection in. So
maybe Bustleton each way, but a little saver on Stumptown if you get 3 to 1.
Okay.
In the cross country.
Yeah, I think Liberty Hunter will run a big race in the Grand Annual.
Yeah, well, for selfish point of view, hopefully Potter's Charm and the Turners, and then Stump Town and Liberty Hunter be two winners hopefully.
Excellent.
Jalon Dudery in the bumper. I'm really quite keen on it.
I like Unexpected Party up against Liberty Hunter. He's, as Steve was mentioning a few moments ago, he's £6 higher than he was when he won the race last year, but has had a skeleton campaign to get him to Cheltenham to try and repeat his wins, which is something they've done before. And the runner-up Liberty Hunter is £12 higher, so it's
actually £6 better off
with Liberty Hunter. So it's quite a good shot at the title again, and we know how well obviously he goes there. And I was quite keen on Calypso Chance, but I'm unsure as to exactly where he fits in now with the Gordon Elliott team. But I like the horse and what he's done. I mean, obviously he had the 2 runs, but I like him.
Must have a solid each-way chance. He stays very strongly. If he's with him at the bottom of the hill, there's nothing will finish stronger.
Yeah.
The thing about Willie's 2 favourites in the race afterwards, Game of Inches and Copacabana. You probably know more about Copacabana than I do, but
certainly more than Game of Inches.
Very good.
That's terrible.
Both times they won, the connection said afterwards that they need soft grounds. Just bear that in mind. It looked like 2 big chasing types, and if the ground was quick, would that be a slight negative? So
okay, that's a look at day 2 of this year's Cheltenham Festival.